What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chris C. Pup Surratt bringing you another edition of the Car Concierge Show, the show that helps you with the buying, selling, maintaining, and repairing of all your vehicles. On today's show, we're going to touch on the subject of the tariffs that our infamous president has put on, President Biden, on China's system of EV vehicles and other products that they put tariffs on recently. We're going to talk about what those tariffs really mean. We'll talk about the money for a second. We'll talk about what some of the Chinese EV companies are doing ahead of that. And finally, we'll talk about some EV companies that are here in the States that we should keep an eye out for, because if they do eventually make it hard for Chinese companies to bring EVs over, we're going to have to concentrate on, using or getting the EVs that we have available here in the continental United States. So, of course, we're going to have to find the best ones that are available. Now, what we've been doing lately is talking a lot about EV vehicles, and of course that's because they've been in the news a lot lately. So just recently our president let us know about the new tariff set forth about EV vehicles. We're going to check that out real quick, and then we're going to talk about it extensively.
Up to one.
Now, of course, we're not going to go over his whole speech. I just want to touch on the subject of what he said about, about EV cars. So let's just get to that real quick. And get it going.
America, creating and supporting thousands of union jobs. Next, a 100% tariff on electric vehicles made in China. People say, wow. Because we're not going to let China flood our market, making it impossible for American auto manufacturers to compete fairly. We're also implementing a 25% tariff on electric vehicle batteries from China and a 25% tariff on critical minerals that make those batteries. Folks, look, I'm determined that the future of electric vehicles will be made in America by union workers, period.
All right, so yeah, that is his quick statement about the 100% tariff on EV vehicles and Chinese battery makers, which was a big thing even back in COVID times when they was having a problem with the smart chip shortage and all of those things. But we've talked a lot about on this show the EV vehicles here in the United States, specifically Rivian, talking about Fisker, and of course these are not even automakers standardly here in the States. And we've also talked a lot about, the layoffs at certain, GM factories, Stellantis factories in Michigan. And what we are seeing here from our president, which I'm not even going to sit here and say is a bad thing, but what we see is that, the influx of EV vehicles from China and other places like this are going to be cause even more problems for our American automakers. They're already having multiple problems with their EV vehicles, multiple problems selling their EV vehicles. The market has not been fantastic. So real quick, I'm gonna move on to the next video, because this is going to help you to see why it was so important for Biden to push this through as quickly as he did. So this is a YouTuber. He has a YouTube channel, Everyman Driver. Damn, he got like 377,000 subscribers, so it must be a great show. But what we're going to do is we're going to see what he says about Ford electric vehicles right now. What's going on with those? And it's going to tie into the first, or the subject that we're talking about. So real quick, we're going to check this out.
The Blue Oval. Ford is facing some steep financial challenges. In a striking revelation, Ford has reported substantial losses in its EV division, with each EV sold in the first quarter of 2024 costing the company over $100,000. This according to a Bloomberg report. This alarming figure has prompted the automaker to drastically reassess its EV strategy and scale back future production plans. Amid the challenging landscape of the EV market, where competitors like Rivian and Lucid are also grappling with significant financial strains, Ford's struggles highlight the intense pressure within the industry. The company has reportedly begun reducing orders from battery suppliers and is cutting its expenditures on EV development by $12 billion. These measures are part of a broader strategy, they say, to mitigate losses, which are projected to reach up to $5.5 billion this year alone. Its CEO, Jim Farley, has indicated that the EV unit, Model E, is currently the most significant burden on Ford's finances, severely impacting the overall profitability of the company. The losses experienced in the first quarter have doubled from previous figures, posing a potential threat to negate all profits from Ford's traditional gasoline-powered vehicle segment. In response to these financial headwinds, Ford is recalibrating its approach by delaying the launch of new EV models, reducing prices, and resizing planned battery manufacturing facilities. Despite these setbacks, Ford remains committed to innovating within the EV space, they say. The company has announced plans for a new, cost-effective electric model intended to be both affordable and profitable, signaling a hopeful future amidst current challenges. Predicted reliability scores and yearly maintenance costs, two factors that may go into your decision on buying a new vehicle. Here are the 12
All right. Everyman Driver. He puts on a great show, so check him out if you're into the automotive stuff. But now, what he did explain to us was all the problems that Ford was having specifically with their EVs. All the money that they are going to have to spend in the future to upgrade them, dropping prices, stating that every EV vehicle was costing them over $100,000. The EV situation here, it has been dire, specifically with the EV vehicles that the American people are making. Lots of problems dealing with cancel culture situations, specifically when it comes to like Fisker and entities like that. So the EV market has been extremely bad for, American automakers. We even see that Elon Musk is cutting back a lot. All of the layoffs that he's done, all the changes that they've done. The EV market, as much as they want to move us forward into it, the move to it has been slow at best, and it seems extremely painful financially to a lot of American automakers. So I do foresee in the near future that, of course, just like Fisker was doing before and nobody was taking him up on it, I see that there's going to be some American automaker, probably Nissan's probably going to go back in and start talking to him again, but there's going to be some American automakers that are going to go to Fisker and try to not take their motto, bring it into their place, change it up to the point where it fits them and it's a better product for the world, and put it out there. And what Biden is doing is just implementing a situation that's going to help them do that. Implement a situation where GM, Stellantis, all these places can make money off of EVs and try to mitigate the amount of money that the Chinese developers are making off EVs, so that we as American automakers are on top as it were, when it comes to EV vehicles. But it's going to be hard to do because China is up on us on EVs. They've worked on it probably a little bit longer than we have. They've ironed out a lot of problems that they've already had, and their EVs to some degree look a little bit better. So real quick, what we're going to do now is we're going to check out, because in my opinion, the main Chinese auto manufacturer that America is going to be competing with in the near future is BYD. And BYD has a great product. It's a Chinese-made product, all electric. And at the same time as Biden was letting us know about the 100% tariffs, they were in Mexico, right across the border, showing off their new truck. Let's check that out.
BYD unveiled a new mid-size hybrid electric pickup truck in Mexico on Tuesday. It was the first time the world's largest EV maker has launched a new product outside its home country, and it strengthens the Chinese automaker's foothold in the North American market. The reveal came on the same day US President Joe Biden announced new tariffs on a variety of Chinese imports, including EVs. A US trade representative further said the US was weighing tariffs on imports from Mexico. The BYD chief of America's Stella Lee didn't think this would have an impact on the car maker.
No, we don't have any plan to go to US. So this shock is really target for any other place outside.
Does anybody truly believe that they have no plans to go to the US? They're in Mexico, right across the border, showing off their really nice hybrid pickup. Really nice. Looks really nice. I checked it out. No plans to come to the US? We're going to check if that's true later. Hold up.
At the US.
BYD executives said the Shark is only available in Mexico. It also plans to build a plant in the country.
Only available. Only available in Mexico. How many things that are in Mexico come over into America? Products, people. But they only gonna sell these really nice BYD trucks in Mexico. Come on now. We know that they're setting up shop in Mexico, gearing up for a move over to America because they know that their product will sell in America, because America has become a cacophony of place for greenhouse people, you know, tree huggers we used to call them back in the day, and already have inundated themselves to the point where they've established that for some odd reason EV vehicles are the next wave and they're going to save everybody and they're going to save the world and it's going to kill pollution. So they've already put in lots of, you know, statements of how soon they're going to get rid of all gas cars, and how all combustible cars are going to go away soon, and we're going to get rid of all the smog and all pollution. Come on, man. Back to the video.
Lee said BYD chose Mexico due to its rapid growth in demand for pickup trucks there.
Don't make a difference because when we build a Mexican plant, we only consider the Mexico market and also
They use them truck. Never mind.
other countries' market, not really consider US.
The plant will have a capacity of 150,000 vehicles per year, and Lee said it will take up to 3 years to finish. BYD Shark is costlier than most rival products though. It has a starting price of $53,442 for the Shark GL and $57,588 for the premium model.
Yeah, and there we go. I mean, it looked like they don't care, right? I mean, they moving forward. They building a plant in Mexico right across the border. You know, they're only gonna sell to the Mexican people. Come on, man. No, you can't believe that. They're gearing up for a move into America with their vehicles. And I start with their BYD. Let's check out something real quick. I want to show y'all something else. And this is going to, we're going to get to the money really quickly, okay? This is a little Yahoo Finance is where I got this from, but they're going to talk about President Biden's Chinese tariffs and what it means for consumers. Real quick, let's check this out, because, and the reason we watch, I'm turning y'all on to this is because I want y'all to understand that this tariff thing is really nothing. But let me show y'all a video. We'll talk about it after. So, gonna check out Yahoo Finance real quick. We're gonna talk about Biden's tariffs and their impact on us. So I want y'all to check this out real quick.
I was reading just this morning and last night, The Economist had a whole series about how globalization is going in reverse, and this is possibly another sign of it. And that's, you know, there were a lot of benefits of globalization. We can debate the politics here and then, you know, left and right, but from an economic point of view, globalization put a lid on inflation to a large extent. I think we were able to skirt a lot of inflation even with zero interest rates because of the positive effects of globalization that occurred, you know, let's say over the past, you know, over the 20 years leading up to, you know, basically the first 20 years of this century. You know, if that goes into reverse, that can have some negative consequences in terms of I was reading just this morning and last night, The Economist had a whole series about how globalization is going in reverse, and this is possibly another sign of it. And that's, you know, there were a lot of benefits of globalization. We can debate the politics here and then, you know, left and right, but from an economic point of view, globalization put a lid on inflation to a large extent. I think we were able to skirt a lot of inflation even with zero interest rates because of the positive effects of globalization that occurred, you know, let's say over the past, you know, over the 20 years leading up to the, you know, basically the first 20 years of this century. You know, if that goes into reverse, that can have some negative consequences in terms of inflation, which is what seems to be problem number one now anyway.
You think this is the start of potential China trade war with the U.S.?
It could be. I mean, it depends. It depends where they go and how deep they are.
I mean, I don't think China retaliates.
Of course. And so but you know, the question is how. I mean, so, you know, in terms of, for example, let's say it's targeted specifically at electric cars, which is one of the things. I do believe China, to some extent, is subsidizing BYD. So have they? So are we? Who's retaliating against whom? You know, at that point, you know, are we retaliating against sort of a state-subsidized enterprise by reversing, by putting tariffs on to reverse sort of the implicit subsidy? That's a level of political discourse that I'm not even capable of getting into because I don't know the nuances. But that's, you know, if it gets into a little bit of a tit for tat, that becomes problematic. And there was a story today that China is looking to raise, call it about $140 billion worth of long bonds. And one of the reasons they said it is preemptively as a shield against the effect of potential tariffs. You know, at this point, they're definitely thinking that this is a possibility.
Then what's the risk to stocks?
The risk to stocks,
which are trading at highs.
Of course, yeah, of course.
Completely ignoring everything, pretty much.
I'm sure you and I will get into that in a couple seconds. But you know, the risk to stocks is anything that throws sand in the gears of the economy or sand in the gears of the consumer is problematic. For example, if this raises the cost of living, you know, it's sort of a, you know, a hidden inflationary element. It doesn't. It makes it harder for the Fed to say that prices are coming down, that inflation is under control. And this is where it becomes problematic, because tariffs do eventually come out of the consumer.
All right, and the key point for me in that was that one of the reports that he heard was that China is preparing for the tariffs by, getting together over $140 billion in long bonds, which would, in most situations help cover the cost of the tariffs for any cars or steel or any other products that they decide that they want to send over to America, and continue globalization. It amazes me that Biden and the U.S. government has just stopped at 100% tariffs, where you could go all the way down to the point of just denying them the ability to ship those vehicles over here. And we all, this gentleman here from Yahoo Finance, and we all seem to be under the idea that BYD is the main culprit, and I believe that to be true because I know I've studied this, and I know that they make a good product that people seem to like. I know they are prepared to, or gearing up to ship over a lot of BYD vehicles. I know they've reached out to people over here in the States about opening up BYD dealerships. So, and it's that fear of, Chinese automakers coming over here and just putting a foothold and just, planting their flag on top of that hill of EVs and putting all of the American automakers to the side. And the bigger problem is that those American automakers are already having problems, so they can't deal with no more problems. More problems from these Chinese EV automakers, less factory workers, less sales, a problem all the way around. And he addressed it, even in his statement, that this was to help the American automakers. It's just a move to help the American automakers. Now, is there an unfair trade going on, and is China doing things that cause problems for American automakers? Sure. I'm not positive, but if you say so, sure. I'm not sure. I've seen some stuff. I've heard some things. I know that there's loopholes that they take advantage of. But as is the world. So, that being said, what Biden is making us do is concentrate on the American automaker. Concentrate on the EVs made here in America. And I believe that I found a good one. I'm a big believer in Derek Automotive. Derek Bailey is a maker of these EV vehicles. It's a startup. My company is thinking about investing and maybe even opening up an Exeter dealership sometime soon. Maybe not here in California, but we haven't decided that. But Exeter is an extremely up-and-coming automaker, EV automaker. And today we're just going to highlight them real quickly. We're going to look at a video that their owner made, checking them out. So, because I kind of want the world to, if this is the way it's going, we want the world to start to see automakers here in America, and see that there will be a lot of choices in the near future of what EV vehicles you buy and who you buy them from.
You have two options to charge. If you happen to be at home, certainly you're welcome to plug our car in. But if you need to hop in your car and take an emergency drive down to your kid at college, and it's 500 miles away, with my generator in that car, you don't have to stop for a charging station.
Hey, it's Miguel Lloyd, and I have the pleasure here today to sit down and talk to Mr. Derek Bailey with Derek Automotive Technologies, brother.
My
Good
pleasure,
to see
my
you,
friend.
man. Absolutely. And so, had the pleasure of coming by here and seeing this technology a few weeks back. I said, I got to come back here. We got to grab some cameras. We got some stories to tell.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. I walked in and I saw this beautiful car and I said, hold on. All right. And they said it's a black-owned electric car company called
Avani.
Tell us about your vision and what you're doing here in this industry.
Oh, well, actually, we're trying to transform the industry. I mean, basically, electric cars are great, except for one little thing. No one likes to charge them.
Right.
So originally, we created and received a patent for a new type of generator motor.
Okay. Tell us about that motor.
But basically, it's a 53% efficient motor as compared to a traditional engine, which is about 22% efficient.
Okay.
So when you burn more of the fuel, then you produce less of a carbon footprint.
Got it.
So the first goal is to reduce the carbon footprint. And then we use that motor to convert fuel to electricity to recharge the batteries in the electric cars. And now you have two options to charge. If you happen to be at home, certainly you're welcome to plug our car in. But if you need to hop in your car and take an emergency drive down to your kid at college, and it's 500 miles away, with my generator in that car, you don't have to stop for a charging station.
So we're sitting here with Greg Coles, president of Retro by Exceeder. Is that
That's it.
correct?
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
And so Retro by Exceeder is your division of Derek Automotive Technology that does what?
Retro by Exceeder is the division that converts existing gas-powered cars into electric.
And so tell us about how this came about. You know, what we see all the time is there's always a bunch of cars. People sit in them for 10 years. They get tired of them, or they have a little too many things happen with the car. This breaks down, that breaks down. Next thing you know, you're back at the dealership buying it all over again. But you're saying there's some nice bodies cars out there in the market that you can take, convert them to electric, and keep those things on the road for the foreseeable future.
Oh, millions.
Yeah.
There's millions of them. Just take your insurance companies. We've got 3 million flood cars sitting around alone. What we're able to do is take these cars, rip out all of the gas components, everything that's either gas or diesel. We take all of those out, and we put in electric components, and we essentially turn this into an EV. And the advantage to that is, and a huge part of my job in converting these cars is education. And part of that education is just letting people know what advantages there are to driving an EV. And the advantages to an EV are, number one, cost of ownership and maintenance. In an EV, there's no transmission, there's no oil changes, there's no belts or hoses. You get in the car and you go. In the average car, there's 4,000 moving parts. In an EV, there's 400 moving parts.
Wow, 10%.
10%, most of which are suspension related. So it's your suspension, your turning, your handling, things like that. So as far as when it comes to a motor in an EV, you just got your commutator or your rotor and your stator. That's it. And of course, you have your gear reduction, but those are just fixed moving gears. But the big picture is when you drive an EV, because there's such little moving parts, such little maintenance, such little fuel cost, because it costs about $1 to charge an EV. If you go in DC fast charge an EV, it costs you about $7 at the most. And that depends on the convenience of the charger.
And so $7, and it may take you 400 miles, 500 miles on one charge, or $70 to fill a premium, or up to 100 if you got, and it may take you 300 miles. Hey y'all, welcome to the future. All right, so we're here with Michael Miles, managing partner of the Georgia dealership with Derek Automotive.
Yes, sir.
And so tell us a story about how you met the team and how you got involved in this venture.
Yeah, I had the pleasure to meet Derek about 1.5 years ago through a mutual friend. And after investigating this amazing technology and having a conversation with him about his vision to be the largest carbon reduction company on the planet, which is mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing, absolutely.
I had to have him at least look at Georgia. Georgia has a lot going for it with low taxation, a hotbed of technology happening in this area, and a lot of innovations happening around the EV space with other companies coming to the area. So I thought it'd be a good fit for him to come with me, my partner, with all the relationships we have, to be able to start to build that brand that was going to be able to take that mantle forward. It's going to be tough, right?
Yeah.
A black auto manufacturer.
Hey, you
never been done before, right?
Hey, you know what? Somebody got to believe we can do it, and we believe we can get it done.
All right, and there you have it. Shout out to Derek Automotive, Mr. Derek Bailey. Shout out to LMG Media. Go out and subscribe to those guys. But that's the future. Derek Automotive, places like that. All of these, and there's a lot. Not a lot, but there's a considerable amount of American EV makers out there coming up in the works, building their brand, putting together dealerships or trying to get started. Startups, as they were. So, and they're gonna keep coming out the woodworks. I think Derek Automotive and Consider is a good one. I'm really thinking about investing, do a little more research and decide, but they seems fantastic. Seems like definitely something that we should check into, because the EV market is going to be there and it's just going to continue to grow. So we're just going to have to deal with it. All right, my friends. That is my show. I have a anniversary to get to. So, but as always, it's good talking to y'all. Staying to know about your vehicles. Give us a call. Like, subscribe to the channel. Have any questions, just hit me in the DMs or twistedpup01@gmail.com. And I'm out. Peace.